guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Loki Infiniti in sunny Clearwater, Florida, because guess what? I have a 2020 Infiniti QX60 Luxe Edition. So let's talk a little bit about Infiniti. Infiniti's been around since 1989, if you could believe that. The QX60 was their first ever three-row crossover utility vehicle. In 2016, this Infiniti behind me was lightly refreshed for that model year. Since then, they've created some different trim options. They now have the Luxe, but we are waiting for a full redesign. So that really is the big question. Is it worth getting down to Loki Infiniti and picking up one of these QX60s, or is there gonna be some type of upgrade, some type of redesign in store for 2021? So let's go ahead, dive into this Infiniti QX60 Luxe Edition. Now, if you notice, even though it's been since 2016, that refresh, headlight design is still on point. I like the daytime running lamps, the LED daytime running lamps. I also like the blacked out interior pieces in the housing. Gives it a nice Infiniti style look, because no matter which Infiniti you look at, it has a particular look with the headlights. Now, as you drop down, a little bit of silver chrome trim. Don't worry about the sirens. I'm fine. I don't know what's going on, but something's going on down here in Clearwater, but we're gonna keep on filming. Silver chrome finish, nice touch. Now, they did do some fake vent here. I'm gonna zonk that. So zonk on the fake vent, but you do get the fog lamps, which is nice. I just wish they would have just kept this smooth or kept it this beautiful blue color. Now, as we come across the front, part of branding in the car industry is not only this guy right here. This is the Infiniti badge. Remember, this is the upscale version of Nissan, but also the grille shape. You look at any Infiniti, very similar grille shape. I do like the wave design. It's a metallic gray, not too shiny. As we drop down, same wave design, but this one is flat black to take a better beating as you're driving down the road. But front end of the business, it does have a nice presence to the QX60. Now, as we come around the bend here, you'll see how the headlight design integrates into the front fender. We drop down, and what you're looking at is machined aluminum with some dark gray metallic color. This is a 20-inch wheel, 235 on the width, and this is a 55 series sidewall. I do like the way the QX60 sits as it's still here in the parking lot. It does have a nice purposeful look. Now, I am gonna zonk this badge here. This has a 3.5 liter V6. I'm not really loving this placement of it. I wish they could have integrated that a little bit better somewhere else. Now, when it comes to the side of the vehicle, you can see the chrome trim, very nicely done. You got the integrated turn signals, which is a great plus. And then they went with a silver painted roof rack, which kind of looks out of place. I wish they would have kept it either the chrome or a brushed aluminum finish, but you do get the crossbars, which is a nice touch. A lot of manufacturers make you pay extra. They charge you more for the crossbars, but you get that on the QX60. As we go down, chrome trim down low near the sill, chrome trim on the door handles, and a nice flat black sill extension gives the side of this CUV a little bit of personality. Remember, very, very close to that Pathfinder platform of Nissan. Interesting, unique design that they do for the rear quarter glass, and I think that's what Infiniti's trying to do touch-wise to add a little class, add a little flavor. As we come around the rear, you can see the taillights, how they integrate into the back of the QX60. Low roof spoiler. I like the chrome trim Infiniti badge, even a little bit of chrome trim on that bumper as a little bit of a bumper guard. But if you notice, it's so skinny that it will protect the edge, but if your kids are dragging that luggage out, they're still gonna scratch the heck out of that bumper. We drop down, very clean look. The exhaust is tucked all the way in. I'm happy that they didn't do fake exhaust. Thank you, Infiniti, for not doing that. But why don't we go ahead, pop the hood, and see what's powering this Infiniti QX60. All right, guys, time to look underneath the hood. I just want to show off the hood a little bit more. I felt like maybe I sped through that part. You do have a nice crease on each side, which is very nice. And then there's a very light, but it's present, rise to the center here, kind of right as where the hood meets the front fascia, and then it kind of fades towards the windshield. But the nice thing is, to open up the hood, it's real simple. You pop it up, you got your two hood struts. Underneath, there is a lot of plastic but I do like the way you could clearly see that Infiniti badge up there. What you're looking at is a 3.5 liter V6, 295 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque. It is all mated through a CVT transmission. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds with this QX60. MPG's really not the greatest. 20 in the city, 27 on the highway. And if you're wondering, well, what is the weight of this vehicle? 4,654 pounds, and 0 to 60, 7.1 seconds, quarter mile, 15.5. You know what? It's a naturally aspirated engine. I know a lot of people love to have a naturally aspirated engine than having to worry about turbos and whatnot, but I think the weak link in this chain link fence up front, almost like the chain link on this grill, is that CVT transmission. But why don't we go ahead, check out the interior of this QX60 and see how luxury filled it is. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Infiniti QX60 Luxe Edition. I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, I kind of like the look of the outside of this Infiniti, and that seems to really be the case. So many of the Infinitis that I brought to you from Loki Infiniti here, the exteriors look magnificent. It's when we get to the interiors where it gets a little bit of a rough ride. But if you're wondering, well, how much is the MSRP on this one? This one, you're looking at MSRP right at $60,000. Let's see what we get. To the door panels. Now, you do have wonderful leather on the armrest. You got that nice light colored contrast stitching. I love the wood trim, and very, very soft material at the top of the door panel as well. Really gives it a nice flavor to the door. Even though there's a lot of dark material, the silver breaks it up very nicely. Now, as you go from the door to the dash, still same soft material. I like the contrast stitching that goes all the way across the top. This one does have the upgraded Bose sound system with 13 speakers, the wood grain finish, and a little bit of silver trim. Now, as we get to the center console area, this is where it gets a little bit of a rough ride. Now, this has a dated infotainment system. You can see the navigation. You have Infiniti's little direct drive knob here. You can see that's where we're located, right there in sunny Clearwater, right where that Infiniti logo is. But you could zoom out through that system, but very dated graphics. If you want to go into everything else, there's your fuel economy, your InTouch services, all that good stuff. It is a touchscreen, which is great. As you drop down, though, the rest of your controls, what's interesting is that you actually have AC controls mounted with the other controls for the infotainment. So that kind of is a little weird. Hit camera. There's your camera views. You got your 360 around the vehicle. And then, of course, the directionals. That's a really nice touch as you are backing up or going forward. You could go into change views. That's the camera out the door. You see that badge, the 3.5 badge? That was a zonk right there. That's why I'm showing it to you through the camera. So that's a double zonk. Push button start with the silver trim. Silver on the radio controls. As we keep working our way down, you have the more wood grain. And then down here, you have a 12 volt, which I'll show you right there, opens up, and then you have two USBs, more wood grain. Now, the nice about the wood grain is it hides the fingerprints for the most part. I'm not really picking up on that. Dated key fob. Infiniti needs to do something with their key fob. So, we're talking about, do they need a redesign 2021? I'm going to say yes. Two cup holders. I do like the shifter. Very nice and classy with the stitches. And I do like the Infiniti badge on there. This is for that CVT transmission. Heated and ventilated seats, and I'm very happy on how easy it is to turn on and off depending if you want heat or if you want ventilation. You do have different modes, which I'll show you that when you come over to the business side of things. Upper and lower. So you lift this, you can get into the lower portion, all felt lining, another 12 volt, USBs, aux jacks, and a little shelf system in there. You could actually have two stacks of treats. You could have your Slim Jims in the tray, and then your Hostess cupcakes in the rest of the area. You want to do the top part? This is perfect for Jolly Ranchers. The kids are crying, throw a Jolly Rancher at them, it'll shut them right up. Padded, nice stitch work, which is nice. And then the seats, this is really the lugs, the whole luxe part of the whole situation here. Love the stitch work, the design, very, very comfortable, fully adjustable, electric assist, of course. And they have a nice upscale. It's funny how if you put piping, that's what this is called right here, on a seat, it really brings up the level of the quality in it. It's unbelievable. Headliner, nice and light, open area, very, very small sunroof up front. I mean, the sunshade, I actually have pulled all the way back, and there's not much real estate here. This is like the thinnest, when I say thin, width of a sunroof I've ever seen up front. You do have an auto dimming mirror, but it's that old style where it's big and bulky. But why don't you get over to the business side of things? I'll show you behind the wheel of this QX60. All right, guys, business end. You do have 2 memory settings on the doors, and I like the way the doors open. And if you're seeing a connection, you're saying to yourself, huh, that looks like a Pathfinder. It's sitting on that same chassis, that same groundwork of the Nissan Pathfinder. I do like the aluminum finish on the sill with the Infiniti badge. Nice touch. There's the power controls for your seat. Easy to use, easy to get to. Steering wheel, straight out of the Pathfinder, wrapped in a different leather, which is a nice touch. I like the stitch work. Not really in love with the horn button. And these buttons on the side are very, very dated, so that's going to be a zonk. Dash, they did their best to make it look good. So if you're looking there, you'll see you have an analog tach, analog speedometer. I like it's almost like a diamond cut trim around those 2 different things, which is nice. And then in the center, you have that digital display. Lane keep assist can be shown. You could toggle through all sorts of different information in that center screen, which is a nice touch. But overall, it really needs to be brought to a new level because there's a lot of competition, But why don't we check out the mid-row and see how your passengers are going to be loving the Luxe edition of the QX60. All right, guys, back seat time or I should say mid-row time, because remember this is Infiniti's first ever 3-row crossover utility vehicle. You'll notice right away in the back of both headrests, you do have television monitors, which is a nice touch. Really makes it feel luxury, because there's a lot of other CUVs we've been in at $60,000 that doesn't have that. I am impressed and let down at the same time of this command center. Now, I'm let down because these controls are very dated, but I'm glad that they have controls here. 2 little, I mean, these are probably the smallest air vents I've ever seen. This is probably like, they call these the Planner's Edition, Planner's Peanut Edition, because that's about the only thing that could fit there. You do have a home power source, heated seats. There's your controls for the monitors, for your headsets, and another 12-volt back here. So they do have that. I also like the way they have the sliders. That's always a nice touch. Help you get more comfortable. And then, of course, recline, which is really nice to have. And if you're wondering, well, do you have an armrest? Let me make that even. I want it to be perfect, just for you. Flip it down. It's not the softest, but it's there. 2 cup holders. And then look at that. You could probably take easily some blow pops and just have them mounted in there. And then you have a panoramic style sunroof. Now, the only zonk, very large crossbar here, which I'm sure is for safety reasons, but kind of takes away from the sky view. But why don't we go ahead, check out the 3rd row, and see how usable this QX60 really is. All right, guys, time to check out that 3rd row. We're just gonna lift up here. That moves out of the way. I do like the amount of plastic that's here so you don't rip up the carpet. We go ahead and we step on in, drop on back. It's cramped. You know, the way that the roof comes down here, it's a little cramped for somebody 6 feet tall. Remember, I'm 6 feet tall. You saw how I looked in the front, middle. Now you see me in the back. The great news is 2 USB jacks, which is important. I'm looking for rear AC. That's got to be the zonk of the year. There's no AC vents back here. None whatsoever. I don't feel any air conditioning. Why is that? There needs to be AC back here. It's way too hot today in sunny Clearwater, Florida. Cup holders, knees are up high. I'll move it back. I know you guys asked me for it. I'll do it. Not too bad, but I am eating my knees. So let's go ahead. We're going to check out that cargo area and see how much room do you have, seats up and seats down. All right, guys, time to check out the cargo area. One press of the button, up she goes. I'm going to go ahead and move my bag out of here, and then also move the floor mats down just to give you an idea. Enough for a stroller, enough to take your groceries. If you want to put the seats down, it's very, very simple to do. You're actually just going to lift up. Well, first you're going to make the headrest go down. So you got to go like that. You're going to lift up on this lever and go down like that. Same thing over here. Lift, push. There's your nice flat cargo area. Of course, you have a 12 volt, and of course that mid-row is going to go down as well. What's interesting, if you want the seats to come back up, they do have buttons to raise the seats back up. So it's manual going down, electric going up. That's pretty much the first time I've ever seen something like that. Now to do the headrest, you got to pull this little guy right here, and hopefully it clicks into place. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the best part. Let's get to this QX60 for a spin. All right guys, we're leaving Loki, Infiniti, and Clearwater. We're in the 2020 QX60. Really nice the way it does have electric tilt and telescoping steering wheel. And then, like I said, the ventilated seats are very, very well done in this car. Immediately, as soon as I turn them on, I get some kind of relief from the heat outside. So that is a really big plus. And it's got that luxury feel, of course. When you put your seatbelt on, it snugs it up for you, makes you feel good, make you feel like the QX60 loves you, kind of gives you a little bit of a bear hug. Very smooth though. One thing, especially if you're comparing this to a Pathfinder, it is very, very smooth. Great visibility out over the hood. Back window, really, really good. Even the side mirrors are working great. Where it's losing it is in that infotainment section that I pointed out earlier. That's where I see a lot of zonks. But, you know, I'm sure Infiniti must be working on something big, because it's been now going on 4 years, if you count this model year 2020. 4 years since the last refresh, not redesign, but refresh. And I think we are ready for the next direction to take this QX60 in. But very, very smooth and comfortable. I know that. The seats are firm, but they also have a nice cushiness to them, which is great. And let me go ahead and get on throttle. Remember, CVT, it's got simulated shifts in it. It's a little loud, but not as loud as some other CVTs that I've heard when the engine is hooked up to a CVT. This one is front-wheel drive. You can get optional all-wheel drive, of course. The thickness of the steering wheel is great. It's not very attractive looking, and the buttons are very dated on the steering wheel, especially for a $60,000 vehicle. But very smooth and very quiet inside for sure. Steering also has a very, very nice feel. Now you do have different drive modes, which right now I'm in Eco. You have Snow, and then you have Standard and Sport. Each one is going to change the parameters of the operation of this vehicle. And you can feel the difference. Like in Sport, I get on throttle, it does have a little bit quicker response to that throttle movement. All right guys, as we're driving around, I do like like I said, the feedback from the front wheels through the steering wheel feels really good. Brakes are nice. And overall, I mean, it's nice to drive. It just, we need some new additions here. On throttle. I'm just not the bit. Now, as I gain speed, and you notice this guy's squeeze playing me, as I gain speed, it seems that the steering input is not as great. So I'm gonna hold off on really calling this a true feedback through the wheel kind of CUV for sure, because I would like to take this down a twisty road to feel the overall left and right transitions and how that feedback is given through the steering wheel. But definitely driving down the highway, very, very comfortable, very secure, and feels good. So even as we go over expansion joints of these overpasses, soaks up the bumps very nicely. And I'm glad to see that you do get driving modes. I think another plus that I like is the blind spot monitoring. The lights actually light up inside the vehicle, right in the corner of the door where the mirror is. That's a nice touch as well. It's very, very easy to see. I can imagine just at night how easy that would be to see, except, you know, especially those cars that have the light that lights up on the mirror itself. Controls are easy to get to, just very dated. And obviously this infotainment system is very dated, but we're gonna go ahead. Hopefully this gave you a nice overall feel of the QX60 Luxe edition. And we're gonna wrap this up and get back to Loki Infiniti. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another great day here at Loki Infiniti in Clearwater, Florida. I definitely gotta thank Paul and Josh and everybody else at the dealership. So accommodating to get this 2020 QX60 just for you on Rady's Rides. What can I say? The three-row CUV segment of the car industry is so cutthroat. You better not. If you're a car manufacturer, you shouldn't bring a knife to a gunfight. This QX60 does definitely have some advantages, but I think in some other areas it might be a little bit lacking. But really the choice is up to you. Get down to Loki Infiniti, take this for a spin. It may be the three-row CUV of your dreams. But if these are the types of things that you want to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, click the link, subscribe. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. Got to thank Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner, working out. He's got his competition this weekend. Wish him well. He's going to bring home the gold. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.